So the big man is back. Dubai is fine dining mostly. We normally find a good place to go pre-comedy show. I'm a typical red-blooded male. I always go to a place with a good steak. But being married, it's not always my choice. I'm not a fan of sushi. I know you guys are, but it's not my cup of tea. I think he was asking us about British food.
Oh, right.
And
So he was saying
I
what
said
it's
to
like
him,
out there.
what's it like in Dubai? Yeah.
Right.
I think, to me, I don't know. No, because Dubai wouldn't. Would it be halal out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Muslim country, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm not
it
very
would
good
be
with.
halal.
We already know I'm not very good with geography from the trivia. I still like to go out there though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to sound like a stereotype, but coming into the new year, are you guys making any resolutions or commitments? I hate the word New Year's resolution because no one ever follows them. But anyway, to better your lives this year, I personally am planning on going hard on the weight loss journey, just so I'm healthier for the kids growing up. As always, your big black brother. Love it. I love his sign off. So great.
Yeah.
We
I
both
would
said that at the same
say
time.
I wouldn't say it's a resolution. I've got pretty much the same notion as this guy, that I never call it a resolution going into the new year, because you're never going to stick to it that way, because it's just what you do every year, saying what you're going to do differently.
Yeah.
I think I've come to a thing over the last month, probably. Longer than that, but the last month I've been doing a lot of nights out and stuff like that. And I said to Charlotte, like, the first 3 months of next year, I've got a quiet period where I've not got many things going. I've got Kieran's wedding, but other than that, there's not much going on, like invite wise.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use them 3 months to like kickstart myself into a decent health regime, and I'm going to stop drinking for 3 months as well. See if that helps me with my weight loss, because I know the amount of calories I consume in alcohol a week probably outweighs the amount of food I'm eating. Do you know what I mean? Especially around this time of year where I'm out all the time.
Yeah.
So it's liquid calories that I don't need to be taking in. I did well last year. I did like January, February. So I plan to do January, February, and March. And then that will be my start of the year. And I just want to carry it on for the year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be them 3 months are going to be the 3 months that I go super hard on myself and make sure that I'm focused.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've got resolutions or anything like that. I know things I want to come out of next year with like having like Sabina move into the house. I'd like to be able to go to Prague in March for Dad's 60th. I want to go to Canada in September to finally meet Jim's baby. Well, say baby, it'd be like over 1 year old by then. So I'm probably focusing more on trying to get the money for that.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the stuff we said at the beginning of the episode about the podcast. I think most of mine are more like goals, right? Like I want the podcast to do better. I want my life to be more stable and Sabina to be more involved.
Yeah.
And I do want to try and sort my health out as well. Obviously everyone knows about my dietary inabilities, let's say. But I'm just tired of it now, you know what I mean? Like I just don't understand what affects me and what doesn't. It can be so fucking random as well. Like I said, Monday I woke up and I was just started being sick for no fucking reason. Don't know what, I was perfectly fine when I went to bed. I got up to go for a pee, so I was off Monday, like that Monday, sick, and then the Tuesday I went back to work. I felt fine. I was hungry for breakfast. Had my breakfast. I have oats.
Yeah.
For my breakfast. Lunchtime comes around. Had my salad and a packet of crisps, and then an hour later, I'm fucking asking a guy to cover me and literally almost fucking shit myself, like running to the toilet. So what could I have eaten out of fucking oat? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, my body's such a fucking conundrum sometimes. I could be perfectly fine. So I think in the new year, I'd love to get like to the doctors and to try and figure something out. But I know they're going to be like, you've got this or you've got that. And I'll be like, no, I haven't. Don't. I feel like when it comes to stomach problems at the minute, they just want to cut out your intestines.
Yeah, like a lot of they go. When do you know when I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me when I had discovered I had the wheat allergy, and I went in for the day of testing into the hospital, and the amount of times I heard the word Crohn's said in probably a 4-hour session, I was probably in the hospital doing all these tests to figure out what I'm allergic to. They mentioned 3 different people mentioned Crohn's probably about 4 or 5 different times throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
And then I come out of that convinced that I've probably got Crohn's, but that I'm going to go with this first. But then that is such a big thing to like diagnose you.
Someone. Yeah.
Because it affects your life massively.
Yeah.
But they don't tend to think that way. I think they very loosely throw that around instead of actually doing proper in-depth testing. Don't get me wrong, 4 hours of testing was pretty in-depth, but I come out scared.
That's what they want to do, is cut you up. You know what I mean? There was a guy at work that had a lot of stomach problems, someone was telling me, and he went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, we've got to cut this out of you. And he was like, what? So he went back home, I think he's like Polish or something.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, take these. So he's taken these tablets that they give him and he was fine.
Yeah, it just goes to show.
Because that's all they want to do. They just want to fix it and get rid of you. Well, that's why sometimes people are like, oh, the NHS is going to gone and we're going to have a system like America where you pay for it. And I think to myself, when I went to Canada and I did that thing with a contact lens and ripped my eye out, like I've never had such good care when I paid for since paying for it. Like, he talked to me like a fucking human being. He explained everything. He gave me information. They gave me the drops and everything, the antibiotic eye drops then and there. I mean, it cost me £250, but fucking hell, I knew exactly what was wrong. I knew how to fix it. I was basically a fucking doctor when I walked out there. Yeah. And you go here, you sit in a fucking waiting room for 5 hours. They take you in a room, write something on a board, and then they send you away. You're like, well, what was wrong with it then?
Yeah, I think, especially how streamlined they try to get the NHS, the doctors almost go through a flow chart. Do you know, the flow charts we used to do when we were kids? And they'll be like, is this wrong? And you go, yes or no. And then they'll follow that path.
Yeah.
That's almost what you're doing when you go to a GP's.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen the GP pull up Google before. And I'm like, mate, I could have fucking done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, when I cut my lower back and I was fucking stitched up to fuck, when I went to Portugal, they took 2 seconds look at it and was like, nah, it's not ready. I went to the GP 3 times when I come back and they were like, oh, it could be ready. Then they cut one and I started bleeding really badly. So then they stopped cutting my stitches. And then I went back a week later. Oh, it could be ready. And then the other doctor come in and she was like, no, it's not ready. And I was like, I had a definitive answer straight away from...
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't see it either because it's on my fucking back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just tell me whether it's coming out or not. At this point, I've been living with it for a month, stitches for a month, which is way longer than you should be because it was the movement area it was in. I had to deal with it. And they would be like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then when I eventually got them out, they were so rigid because they were inside me so long that it was fucking so painful. But now I've still got a massive scar there because they've messed around with it so much. So now you could see where there's a split off at the top where they opened it up too early.
That's mental.
Yeah.
But
my skin's kind of gone back over itself.
I'm no way having a go at the people of the NHS and stuff like that. They're way overworked.
Yeah, and that's why they have to simplify it. That's why they have to simplify it.
It's just bad government is what it is. It's nothing to do with the workers.
Yeah, it's bad management, yeah.
Yeah. But I like if it did suddenly collapse and we had to get like our work had to get like health insurance, I wouldn't be depressed about it because
No.
I think to myself, if we're paying them, the service might be a little bit better.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, because I think this is going to be another when Jamie talks about benefits people. But I think the reason we're in such a bad way with NHS is because we've got all these people that put nothing into the system.
Yeah.
They take and take and take, and then like they're having 15 kids, who then do the same thing. So you've got generational benefit frauds now, and they're all doing the same thing and using all of the facilities more than I ever do of the NHS. Like they're in the hospital all the fucking time. They're in the GPs all the fucking time. But they're in there all the time because they're bored. That's why they're there. Because they're
they get
bored.
drunk and have a fucking accident. They end up in the fucking.
When I was in A&E, I was the only one actively bleeding, Dan. I was the only one
you're
actively
not the
bleeding.
priority. That's what I mean. Like, you think to yourself, if it was insurance based, they wouldn't be in there because they couldn't afford it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
and obviously that comes with its own problems that people won't be able to afford more than obviously you see it in films all the time. But that's a different situation.
Yeah, I don't think there's any simple way to fix it. But yeah, on a long story short, yeah, I want to try and sort my health out, but it worries me that
fucking hell, I forgot. That was a right rant we went on.
It worries me that because obviously there's a lot of stoma bags going around where I listen to their stories and they're like, oh, I was always bloated and uncomfortable and I this and that, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the doctors and say all this to them, and they're going to try and slice me open. Yeah, no, thank you. I'd rather shit my pants than have you rip part of me out of me for no reason.
Yeah, and then you've got like this weird smell about you all the time.
Yeah. No, I think if you keep it clean and stuff like that. But there was this guy that I sometimes see, and he was saying that like since he's got it, his sleeping's been terrible because while he's asleep, the bag just fills up, and he says he has to wake up like 2 times a night just to empty the bag out. And I'm just thinking, oh, my sleep's bad enough already. I don't need a fucking
that on top of
as
it.
well. Yeah,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, more goals for like the year, and then I'd like to try and finally get my health sorted, and just to figure out what's going on. Just to
That's insane that I got to attack and benefits people from resolutions and goals of the year.
Well, that's the podcast, isn't it? That's what people come for. But yes, thank you for still listening. We love hearing you, big man. And one day we will get to Dubai and meet up